Hello and welcome to our session for how to save time with everyday tasks in your business and with AI. My name's Adam. I want to begin by just acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land of which we're gathered on and pay my respects to elders past and present, recognised for generations. They've looked after these lands and taken account of time in such a special way that we still have so much to learn from. Now, I'm only here as a facilitator tonight. I'm going to hand over to our speakers to introduce themselves. I'm going to get Anita, who's our presenter for tonight, to introduce herself first, and then Kelly Brown from Business Tasmania will introduce herself second to run through the Business Tasmania content before we get into the depths of all of this. So, Anita, I would love to hear a little bit more about who you are and what you bring to the table for tonight's session.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Adam. Hello, everyone. I'm Anita. I am a small business owner myself, so I know how you all feel from a day-to-day perspective. I did not think there was going to be enough hours in today, and I thought I might have to do this in the car, but I got home and I've been able to work this out. But my background is in marketing and branding. I've worked for a few big Tassie companies and climbed the ladder, and I never felt fully satisfied because I've always wanted to be my own boss. So my story is I jumped ship and bought a bridal store in Launceston, which I've now been the owner of for just over 3 years. I'm originally from Hobart, so I made the switch to be a northern person and have been loving it ever since. I'm always wanted to be like entrepreneur business style. My favorite game growing up was playing shops, and I remember sorting my DVDs alphabetically like I worked at Video Easy. So I'm very passionate about small business and technology, especially digital marketing, and I love everything efficient. So that means AI, automations are just my like little geek out. I can have so much to talk about. So I'm really excited to share some of this with you tonight around AI and how it can just save our day-to-day as business owners, either in the business but also mental load outside of the business. And hopefully you'll get some benefit out of that. I'll hand it over to you, Kelly, to tell us a little bit about Business Tas.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Anita and Adam. It's great to be here, and thanks everyone for joining us. So I'll share a few minutes of all the great things that Business Tas can offer you. So I've been managing the Business Tasmania service for around 13 years, so helping people all across the state. I'll just share my screen, and I think I'm sharing. Beautiful, perfect. So I'm really passionate about helping everyone across Tasmania as much as we possibly can. Whether you're listening tonight and you're dreaming about starting a business, or you're actually running a business, any industry, any size of business, you can actually come our way and we can help you with the very best solution to meet your needs. So my Business Tasmania team and I, we're very passionate about customer service and helping. We love going to work, chatting to people and working out how we can support you from whether that's the dreaming stage through day 1, year 10, year 20. We do get people call us quite often for lots of different needs. So it can be an exciting new opportunity that you're talking to us about, or it can be a challenge. So anything at all. So you can come to us. I guess you can think of us as being like the front door to access government support. And that could be state or Australian government. So we're here tonight with Adam, and he's part of the Digital Solutions Australian Government program running this event because there's so much value in learning more about AI to save you time in your business. So that's why we're here tonight, to help you with that. So we connect you with different services and programs. I'll highlight a couple tonight, but by no means is that exhaustive. So I just want you to keep us in mind, so that if you're sitting there thinking, oh, look, I'm not sure about Business Tasmania, who they are, get in touch with us so we can work out how we can assist you. So we do run lots of events and workshops like this, and face-to-face events as well. A key service offering I'd like to point out is the new business support service and the Tasmanian Business Advice Service. So if you're thinking about starting a business, or your Australian business number is less than 12 months old, you can actually access 2 hours of free advice with a team of business advisors all around the state. And they're experienced business people, so they know what it's like. They're not public servants, so they actually know what it's like to run a business. So you can actually go to them and make sure you're set up properly in your business, or talk about how to price your products properly, whatever it is that you need when you're first getting started. And when your Australian business number is 12 months old or more, you can then go on to access up to 5 hours of free advice each financial year. And it can be about anything at all. As I mentioned before, it can be about something exciting. You might have a new idea. You might want to look at diversifying. You might be having some cash flow problems or, challenges in your business. So again, they can assist you with the normal day-to-day operation of your business. They can also assist you with loan and grant applications. So you really can tap into that support for a whole variety of different reasons. So you can go to the website or scan the QR code to arrange to meet an advisor, or you can contact the Business Tasmania team and they can match you up with an advisor who meets your needs. If you employ staff, another offering you may like to consider is the Employer of Choice Assist program. And so again, this is another free offering. And so you can actually go to this program of the great team who's in the TCCI delivering the program, and they can assist you with anything to do with employing staff. It could be you might need a new contract, you might want to attract staff, which is so difficult currently, finding the right staff, keeping staff and having a great workplace, anything to do with employing staff, helping you develop policies, anything at all, you can actually access this service. So please, again, keep that in mind. I mentioned before we run a lot of events. We have an event calendar on our website, so you can go. It's a great way of networking and learning. Like tonight, you'll be learning lots of great things. We have 2 more upcoming events, so we're partnering with Adam and his team to deliver. Business Writing with AI, which is next week, and then on the 30th of March, Understanding Your Customers, Market Research and Competitor Analysis. So we'd love to see you there as well, so joining us for those 2 online events. I'd like to just quickly highlight our Business Tasmania website, which is www.business.tas.gov.au. We recently refreshed the website and had a new launch in the last 2 weeks. So I've just highlighted a few things on our homepage. You can see there's lots of great free advice, how to get started, how to employ and manage staff, creating a digital strategy, which is so important. You can sign up to our newsletter, which is a great way of staying informed. This is another shot of the homepage, another part of it. Or we're also very active on Facebook and LinkedIn. So the newsletter is a really trusted source of information, and we're very selective about what we put in it. And it's also a way of finding out when there's very important information you need to know about when you're running a business in Tasmania, and also if there are new funding programs such as grants as well. So please connect with us so that you don't miss out. News, of course, is a feature of what we promote on the website, and also information about how you can prepare your business for the unexpected. So really, I know it's very hard to step away and plan and work on your business when you're working in your business, but we've got some great tools to help you to do that as quickly as you can and thoroughly, to identify hazards and plan for the unexpected. So we have free personalised support, as you'd imagine, anything you could possibly dream of on the website. So again, great to check that out. The Grants and Funding Finder is a new tool. So you can go here, refine what you're looking for, and find local, state and Australian government opportunities. So that's a great one to be aware of, as is our Tools and Support Finder. Again, tools and tailored support to meet your needs depending on where you're at in your business's life cycle. So that's just a very, very quick overview of some of the things that we can do to assist you to run your business. So do get in touch. So thanks for your time, and I'll hand over to Anita for the rest of the event.
Beautiful, thank you. I'm just going to get my screen back up. And excuse my puppy dogs that are just going a bit crazy. I'm not sure if you can hear them, but my fiance just came home. They're just alerting me to that. Anyway, okay, so let's get into AI. That's what we're all here for today. And thank you for everyone introducing yourselves. Sounds like there's a few running themes going on there on time suckers, which I hope I've got some answers for you here. Very much, I've tried to go quite broad because pretty much if it's digital these days, AI is involved in some components. So I could pretty much talk about most things, but I've tried to kind of keep it to some particular categories that I think can save you some time. A little bit about digital solutions, which I'm sure Adam might go into a little bit more later on. Is that right? Yeah, cool. So let's talk small business. The reality of it is our time is pretty drained. It's a pretty cool gig. I love being a business owner, but there is some draining components of it. And as most of you have already identified in the chat, a lot of that is to do with writing emails, responding, admin, things that are routine, that it's the same thing over and over again, or planning out things which, we know we need to plan, but like, do I have the headspace to do this, or like to get into depth with it? So share in the chat what tasks take up most of your business time, which I think we've kind of spoken a little bit about, but it may not suck. It may not suck. It just kind of takes up a big chunk of your time. The other reality of small business, which I think AI can really help in, is most of the time it's pretty lonely. A lot of us are sole traders out there, or we're in very small teams. I know for myself, I could talk to my fiance or to my friends about these ideas I have, or, this thing happening with a customer, but they're not going to be thinking about it from my business perspective, or maybe from such a professional perspective. So AI can become a bit of a business partner for you, and a bit of a sounding board to help you make those decisions, to help you identify our market, do our customer service, do some admin, and help strategize our business. So really, I'm not saying we need to marry AI or ChatGPT like some people are out there in the world, but I think we can rely on these tools to be able to better allow ourselves to make these decisions and not have to rely on everyone else and feeling like we're a burden on them. It's a world as a business owner. I'm sure I don't have to explain it too much to you guys. So yeah, is there someone currently that you do bounce ideas off? And I guess, do you feel like you're getting the answers that you need from that? Do you feel like you have a sounding board that provides you with that professional information? So yeah, AI can help with all of this. So it helps with the brainstorming, the summarising, drafting, research, content creation, makes everything go faster. One of the reasons I really like using AI is I could go to Google and I could put in a question, and I could go to about 5 different websites and try to work out which is the right answer and like what part of that information is relevant to me. I can put it into an AI tool and it will cross-reference all those things and see what the most, trending, or like what's been said often to say that, yes, this is validated proof, and can give me a little bit more of an answer. I'm still going to try to validate that answer somewhere else, but at least it gives me a quicker idea of something to then help me go down a path that I know I need to go to. So it's all around making things faster to start, but not replacing you or replacing anyone else. And I think this is a really important note when we're talking AI. There's a lot of conversation out there in the world around pros and cons of AI. The use of AI is not to replace people. It's just to help us to move forward and fill gaps. And I think especially for us small business owners, it's helping us get those steps up until we're ready to grow or expand or to hire or to pay for that copywriter or, get a research analysis done. It's allowing us to kind of get those steps to get our grounding before we're ready to grow even bigger. So first kind of area we're going to talk about is AI for emails and communication. So yes, you've all identified emails is a really, really big area. And I put my hand up. I'm pretty bad at using this these days, but again, it's just to take that mental load off me. In Gmail now, it will prompt you with like a suggested reply to an email. A lot of time I just use that as the base, being like, yeah, great. you've already acknowledged, thank you for your email, and then I can just put in the second part of it afterwards. So there's lots of tools actually already inside these platforms that we're already using. So Gmail and Outlook, which are the screenshots I've got there, they already have amazing tools that just help you either draft a response or improve the response. So you can put in something that is, how you would talk to a friend, and then just say, hey, can you just professionalize this, make it a bit more grammatically correct? Or, if you want to just mind dump in and then say, hey, can you now make this a little bit more concise for me to just send to someone so they don't have to read War and Peace that like I just had to get out of my head. The other thing, using templates, which isn't always an AI kind of tool itself, but you can use AI to create the templates to then add into these functions for any automatic responses, or to give like the skeleton of a normal response that you can then add in those more unique things to the inquiry. The other one I really love about this is when you have a bit of a tricky situation. So I'll talk about my personal experiences. Obviously, in weddings, there's a lot of emotions and there's a lot of passion about things. So if something goes wrong, it goes wrong, and it's very heated and very, which completely understandable. So a lot of the time when I receive an email, whether it's something that's actually wrong or someone just wants to vent, there's a lot of emotions. And so it's important for me to keep professional and not, emotional. So I use AI to then take that, I'll write what I think, and then make sure AI says, okay, yeah, let's just take these couple words out so you're not like getting too emotive or, for being professional here. So it's a good way. I've seen a few people do this, that you write what you actually really want to say. And so you also get that out of your system. And then you get AI to say, yes, I hear you. Now, this is what we're going to say professionally. And again, it's like that person, you get to vent. Then they go, okay, yes, but this is what you're actually going to send. So that's a really good way. And that's a good example. All right. Another one is customer communication. So, which I mean is emails as well, but just general communication. So replying to inquiries, working out website frequently asked questions. So you could ask AI, what are the most frequent questions around this topic? What are my competitors answering on their website that I need to have on my website? Drafting policies. I mean, we all should, by the book, go to legal and create some policies, but we all don't have time for that, and we all don't have money for that. So some of these policies we can create, a little skeleton that we can then adapt. Confirmations, as I said, handling difficult messages, draft posts for blogs. So like, especially when it's CEO kind of based things, AI can kind of fill out the big guts of it, and then you add in that little bit of sprinkles of what you want for your brand. And same with social media content, which we will get into a little bit more as well. I'm sure Adam will go into this kind of area a little bit more next week when he starts talking about business writing with AI. So I've tried to keep that a little bit brief. Another AI tool which I really love is voice to text tools. So you'll find pretty much on any phone these days, there is a function on your keyboard to then talk and dictate in your phone like you're a doctor, and it will just write it all out, ready for you to press send. Super helpful as a business owner when you're running around, making that cup of tea that you want to do, and you're having to reply to a text message or to an email, rather than having to sit down and put your focus into it. Again, you could put it into AI and dictate blah, 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 blah while you're doing things, and then say, hey, now can you make this like as a nice, concise thing for me to send? But you're able to do that in a lot quicker tone. So yeah, that could be for emails. It could be for capture ideas. If you at the middle of the night, you have an idea, quickly bring up to write a note. And a lot of the time when we have ideas, it's not something that you can like quickly just like write down. It's like it's still up in the air. And so you kind of need to talk it out like you're talking to your best friend. Again, AI, we can talk it out. May not always get a response back, but we're talking out loud. So as I said, a lot of the time this is built into your phone already, but there are also little apps that have particular features that can do that. And ChatGPT does talk to you. I think that's mostly why people do marry ChatGPT, if it does happen. Now, image to text is another tool, and this is one that I've been loving in the last 12 months. And a lot of people don't really realize this, but these days there's a technology called OCR, or optical character recognition, and that means that you can take a photo of something and AI can read the text on it, and you will be able to copy and paste it into a document or into a text. So example that I did, this is more personal than business. I went to my cookbooks, I took a photo of the index, and I copied and pasted that into an Excel spreadsheet. See, I'm talking about efficiency, geeking out here. So now I can search the indexes of all my cookbooks, because I hate having to flick through and go, which cookbook has a recipe for a sponge cake? And I just did that from my iPhone. So iPhones and Google phones actually have this in their photo section, but a lot of the AI products also have this platforms. This can also work in a business aspect, where maybe you found like an old form or something, and instead of having to, recreate the wheel, take a photo of it, copy and paste it, and then you just need to like format it, maybe even ask AI to format it, update it, how do you make this more professional? It's really great. Capturing photos of whiteboards from meetings, maybe, you're doing a workshop. Instead of writing all these notes, just take a photo at the end, and then you'll be able to copy and paste. I love it. Here's an example of it. It's actually not my recipe book. This was from Google, so I'm not the only one that's done this. But you can see that you just on an iPhone, you just hold down on the image, and it will select all the text, and you just press copy, and you just go to the text and just copy. And Google Lens, I believe it's the same. So yeah, I recommend doing that, playing with that tonight. Very exciting. Next one is planning and workflow automation, which is my other avenue. I've done some workshops around this before, so I've tried to keep this as brief without redoing those workshops. But using AI to do those repetitive tasks that don't actually need human input, it's just a matter of process. Sending out invoices or reminder invoices, responding to inquiries, or someone wanting to know just a price list or something. There's a form that automatically will split out that, and then we'll follow up in 12 days or something like that. Creating those systems take off a lot of brain power, because those repetitive things drain you from a workload perspective, but also if you do it a lot, you actually don't really want to, unless you're passionate about it. You want to keep your focus on something that you're passionate about, which normally is the fun things about your business. So let's make those mundane routine tasks. Creates efficiency, means less room for error, because it's the same thing going out every time. Creates room for opportunity, because we can now focus on other areas, and it can integrate platforms into each other, and so you don't have to double up on admin, typing something from this one to that one. We can have things automatically going. So as Adam said, if you want to know more about this, I have some slides which have some links and things to all different things to go into this in a bit more detail, and I can geek out with you as well. If you have any questions, you can email me. One example there is social media batching. So I say to AI, I need 20 captions around wedding gowns that encourage people to book an appointment for this upcoming event. And it will give me all these examples, which I then look over and I say, yep, that one is to my brand. No, that one, not this one. So I'm not just using them. We still use our judgment. I can then use AI if I wanted to create images or captions. And then I use automation tools like a scheduling platform like Buffer or Later, or even Canva. Canva is Life that has a scheduler in it already, or Meta or Facebook has a free planner in the background of it as well. So then these just go out while you're cooking dinner. The posts are already going out, and you've just spent a certain amount of time to then plan out your whole month worth of posts in an afternoon. Sometimes it takes longer than an afternoon, but that's a nice idea. The main platform I use for some of these automations, if you do want to have a look, is Zapier. I've also had a little bit of play with Make, which is very similar, but I do find Zapier is a little bit more easier for the everyday person and has a few more connections. So the main thing when we're using AI is how we ask things of AI if it's not an already kind of pre-built AI function. So these are a couple examples of some prompts you can use, which we have kind of discussed already. But this is the way you kind of describe things. As I said, treat it like a first draft assistant. So you're saying, hey, assistant, can you help write this skeleton of something that's going to help me kind of be able to bounce and build from? Some other AI tools, and to like identify other areas that you can use AI that you can explore. So writing, which mostly is what we've been spoken about, but Adam, of course, will speak about more. I think ChatGPT is the main one for that, and there's another one called Jasper. Designing, so Canva these days, you can type in and say, I need a poster that says that we're having a sale about spring, and I need it to be A4 size, and it will prop up either templates that it already has, or it will pre-make something with your business name. So again, it's just putting that skeleton to then stop you from going, I have to start from scratch. What am I going to do? What kind of shape am I going to do? What colors am I going to do? It kind of prompts you. Organization AI, so a bit more like planning and project management with Notion. Automation, Zapier, make everything happen without you having to be there or think about it. And communication AI, so Fireflies is a bit more of a like a scripting, and Grammarly is a really great plugin which goes on to most things, so Chrome, Google, on your phone, and that just checks your grammar and checks that you're writing correctly, and you can clean things up. So I would say, walking away from today, 3 tasks that you should do, that most of these I think are free. So you should be able to do these on free platforms. Walk away today with, write a customer email with ChatGPT. And that could be, maybe you already have an email in your inbox that you need to have a response with, and you've been putting it off because it's a little bit tricky, or maybe it's something that you have to reply the same thing a lot of the time, and you're like, ugh, I have to write that again. Let's use ChatGPT to respond. And what you can do is you can actually just copy and paste that customer's email into ChatGPT and just say, can you please write the response, and identify a couple of your like requirements and go from there. You can create a social post with Canva AI. So put in what it is that you're trying to say in the social post, maybe some of your branding components that are a requirement, and see what Canva comes up with. Sometimes with AI, it takes a little bit of time for it to kind of pick up what you're putting down and kind of learn you and what your expectations are, just as I think it takes us a little bit of time to work out what you need to say to AI to get the right answers as well. And then I also recommend automating a task with Zapier. So that could be something as simple as if you receive an email in your Gmail from a certain person, that the attachment on that email is saved to your Google Drive of invoices. Something like that, that is very a mundane task that can take up a lot of your time. That's something that can be automated through Zapier. And the thing with Zapier is there's a lot of automations pre-built. So you can type in, I want this to be done, and it will go, okay, here you go. You just need to connect your Gmail and your Google Drive and we'll set it up. We gotcha. Some important things to think about with AI is we want to be really specific. So AI tries to be human, but it's not human, okay? So there's a lot of room for gray area. But just like with normal communication as well, you know, things can be interpreted differently. So make sure you're really specific on your requirements, what are no-goes, what you're expecting. A lot of the time you will find if you need to start getting into more specialized prompts. So if I'm working on blogs, I will say you're an SEO expert. Please write me a blog about this. So I'm specifying that I actually want this to be search engine optimized on a blog around this. So because AI can have a lot of hats. Don't want it to have its doctor hat on when it's writing my blogs around wedding gowns. So be very, very specific. You want to ask for tone, so that this is very friendly, this is professional. I see a lot of conversation around AI, around people just being like, make this email better. And so better is one of those gray areas. What does better actually mean? So you ask for things specifically and ask for tone. So ask for this to be professionally concise. We need to be specific around this, okay? Always edit the result. Don't take it is just like a human, it can make errors, but also we're the professionals in the end. This is just to give us skeletons to help us kind of start the process, do things faster, but it's not to replace us, remember, it's just to help us. And also the other thing is protect sensitive data. So when we're doing customer email dumps or that tricky response, make sure we're not including the personal information they're using. We are still inputting data into a machine that can output it. So doesn't mean to say be too careful, but you know, use some pub rules around what you should actually be putting in, putting out, okay? The other thing that I didn't add there, which I don't know if it's true, but don't say please and thank you to AI. Some people say to do that because when they take over, we need to be kind to them. But I've actually heard that it makes more like processing time. So all the things that people say that are bad, you know, it actually takes a lot more energy if you say please. So I think it's a really great tip to teach yourself to be assertive as well. So we've got to be assertive to AI kindly. I will also say, so ChatGPT is a great tool, and I think it's probably the most used tool out there when it comes to AI these days. I have a client that I've been doing some automation work with, and she told me she named her ChatGPT just so she wasn't having to say ChatGPT all the time. So mine's called Chad, and the free version, completely fine, and it's going to get you started and it's going to do majority of what you want. If you really want to get to the next level of being like, can you just like do stuff for me, please, so I can sleep tonight? I would say that the subscription I find is highly valuable for me as a business owner, only because everything I've put in there, Chad has memorized, so that when I say, can you write this email? He goes, yeah, and I'll put it as like an empowering encouraging but emotive language. So he knows how I need to speak to my customer based on my brand. So that does save you a lot more because you're not having to do the same thing every time. So key takeaways: AI is here to save time, reduce decision fatigue, and help you focus on business growth. It's not here to replace us or other people either. It's just here as a stepping stone, especially for us business owners, to just take the mental load off us and help us stop procrastinating and get things started. My question to you before we get into any other questions is, where do you think you can add AI into your business every day today that you aren't doing anymore? Now, I'm just going to read through some of these questions as well that we have. Okay, what might happen to your credibility? That, I think, comes down on a personal level on how that sits with you. I think these days, most people take it as a given that there's AI in components of what you do. So for me personally, I don't feel like my business is me or my business are looked down upon because I'm using AI. In saying that, I will make sure that if there is any earmarkers that make it look very AI, like ChatGPT loves to put emojis in everything. So I will take out the emojis. So there's little bits to do to kind of bring it back and be like, okay, maybe I just used it as a skeleton. But I think, yeah, I don't think there's a solid answer for that. I think it's more of a how it feels with you and your values and where your business aligns with that as well. So it also, I think, depends on your customer base and what your business is. I would say in my area, it probably doesn't affect it too much. But if you were based in something where that maybe it was assumed that it's using your professional skills to create something, and then they find out that AI did it and they actually could have just done it themselves, I think that's probably going to be that sticky situation. So I hope that's answered the question for you. But I think it is very much a per business, per person, how it feels with you.
Might jump in as well to add to a little bit for that as well. I think the other part of it as well is how much of, and again, this is there's a privacy issue around it, but how much of it is your writing. I think if you are just putting an initial prompt into AI and getting the response, 99% of it is based on the library, not based on your prompt. So that's where, for me, the voice to text stuff and all of those things, if it's built largely around your writing and it's hard to differentiate, I think that's when it starts to become probably more credible. But if it is just a write this up for me, no context, nothing else, 100% that's AI, and you're right, emojis and all that stuff. But if we work really hard, and I know one of the conversations that came up in our last workshop was Jared was talking about he's like got his ChatGPT so strong that he's like he doesn't want to walk away from it because he spent all that time refining the language and putting prompts in, and so it does really speak closely to him. And I think that's where, for me, I know the credibility piece of what you're asking, but I do think it comes back to how close it is to what you would say. How much information have you given it? How much of that have you worked on with that to make sure that it at least aligns to you, that if I read it and I hear you speak, they converge rather than go, wait a minute, there is no way you ever talk like that. What on earth is going on?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. That's great, Laura, that you're going to use to do some social posts. And I find that even sometimes it's just to help give me some ideas, and then I'll go, oh, that's a great idea. Oh yeah, actually I could do this and I could do that. Again, it's just helping that conversation and that thought process start, rather than me sitting there and going, gosh, I have to get my head in content land. Where am I going to start? Because I was just in accounts, and then I was in customer service, but I'm still thinking about the email that I was meant to send an hour ago, so it just kind of helps you delve into these areas. Great. I'm pretty sure Calendly and Xero talk to each other through Zapier as well, so just hinting on that as well. Any other questions? It can be just about AI, not even something that I've spoken about, because as I said, there's so many other components that I didn't even feel like I could be too specific in things, because it's just a bit of everything these days. Yeah, great. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Gillian. You use it as a talk. So I'll be transparent. For this chat about AI, I used AI. But I just helped it go, okay, I need to talk about this. Give me some brackets to break it down. And then I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm going to delve up all of these things. And then I was like, hang on, I want something around this. Can you give me a title for that? And then I was able to, so it just really helped break it down so that I was able to come home and do the video call rather than doing it in my car. I think naturally I probably had to use AI for a webinar about AI. Well, this is great. Adam, I wonder if you want to have a chat about digital solutions, in case there's any chat still coming in the same time, any questions that might be able to be answered. But always happy if you want to contact me outside of this as well with any questions.
More than happy to jump on the end of that. Obviously, we're delivering this as part of the Digital Solutions program. If you've signed up and you still have some hours, you're still eligible to do that. We're right at the end of our contract, so we're waiting for any announcements about what comes next. And so that's obviously something we're waiting on, and there'll be updates through business.gov.au. But with that, if you do have some hours in the program, please definitely make sure you reach out to us so you can get access to them. If you've got any hours and you want to pick Anita's brain, I definitely recommend it with that. But I will add, we have a couple of other events on, so I'm going to jump on the screen sharing trick and pull this up for you to have a look at. So we've got a range of great events coming up shortly. So as mentioned, we've got our business writing with AI workshop, and then understanding your customer market research, target customer analysis coming up as lunch and learns. You can register for them through the events calendar on the Business Tasmania website, and also through our Digital Solutions, tas.com.au/events. On Thursday, I don't know if there's any seats left in the room, as we were talking about before. There's a heap of people coming together for our digital marketing essentials in Hobart. Really looking forward to seeing so many people in the room. And then as the Van Diemen project, and I know the team from Business Tasmania and others will be there with us, we have the Tasmanian Small Business Expo coming up. That's a free event across Devonport, Launceston and Hobart. It's a great way to connect with people like us that help you out. If you've got questions you want to discuss about this, you want to go into and nerd out with AI and automations and find out about all the stuff that's available, definitely worth coming along to. The events are free between 12 and 2 and 5 to 7. You're more than welcome just to drop in. Registrations mean we can give you information before you turn up, which is always helpful. But that would be fantastic to see as many of you there. And as I said, I know Kelly and the team from Business Tasmania will be there. They're bringing the trade team as well. APM, Servcorp is coming along. A whole heap of great organisations. ATO's coming down, ACCC's coming down, COSBOA, Fair Work. So if you've got lots of questions around business and you want to ask questions, you can definitely do that. And then there's a whole range of great small businesses, some of which are in the call as well. That are here. We've got, I know Laura will be talking about her art therapy in Launceston, great thing to get access to, and Gillian and her hampers in Hobart as well. So great way to just meet with, connect with our small business community. So definitely recommend to take that up if you can. But with that said, that's probably my final note there. And so I think I can see a couple of extra questions saying land in the chat, Anita. So I don't want to miss those. And so happy to have a look with you on that one. But is there any questions that you wanted to pull out and make sure that we don't miss them?
Yeah, absolutely. Heidi, I did respond in the chat, but she asked around sharing IP through AIs, particularly around writing business plans. I would verge on caution on that if it's a super confidential idea, or you have fear around IP, because it can depend on the platform you use. I will talk through an example that I heard of. I haven't seen it specifically, but you can never know when you're hearing things on social media. But someone was editing a book, which I think we have an editor here from the chat I saw. Someone was editing a book, and it started referring to characters not in their book. And then they Googled it and found it was of someone else's book that they had been also editing. So I would verge on caution. If it's, a cleaning business or something that there's nothing that could be of an issue, I wouldn't so much be concerned about it. But yeah, no, I think I would still, with a paid subscription, still also be cautious. Again, all your information is still going into a motherboard of information database. If you wouldn't talk about it in a big cafe with people around, I wouldn't put it into ChatGPT. Yeah.
I think to add on to that, I do think there's the data privacy stuff I love to jump into. So I'm so glad that we're there tonight. So for me, one of the things is to really look at the high level enterprise subscriptions that have, you can put your prompts through and it doesn't add to the learning library is obviously the thing that you'd want to look for with this. I know Copilot operates like that if you're paying for it. And the nice part of that, and Google Gemini does the same thing. And obviously Google's got the Notebook LLM tool as well, which they call a closed garden. So it only works within its own information that's built in it. But those platforms, again, at that enterprise level, work within your information system requirements. So if you've geared your Microsoft system or your Google workspace to be highly secure and locked down, then the AI working inside of it means that stuff's a lot more secure. If you're just throwing it into free ChatGPT, I'm sorry, everyone else now has access to it. And I'm hearing of grant programs where grants are writing in each other because of that process. And it's interesting to see, but again, this is where we have to start asking questions around this stuff. If you're really, really worried, we've talked about before, you can actually run those, what they call large language models, which is what they're built on. You can run them offline. You can download it. It's slow, like, sort of like one word a minute type thing. But if you're really worried, I've done it. I've run, there's some great platforms out there that you can run it completely offline to do that. But if you are doing anything that interacts with that AI platform that you're prompting, you're refining, you're doing something, and it's in those free platforms, it's in the library. They're all going in there. They're all going part of it. That's how it learns. That's how it gets better. If we keep dumping things like a photo and design me a LinkedIn avatar based on who you know me for, that's all going into that public library unless we've put those conditions around it. So we're really focused on making sure that you just think about where that data is going. I agree with what you've said, Anita. I'm kind of like, if it's going to go on the internet publicly, it's going to scrape it anyways. Go and rewrite a website or write some social media content. Yeah, that's probably going to end up being built into the platforms. But that sort of private documentation, building on knowledge, building on your sort of proprietary information, 100% look at what we would look at those enterprise subscriptions or closed garden models so that AI puts it in there. Because if you are just using those free ones, even though you might say it's confidential, those models, that's the terms of use. It trains on all of our data. That's how they've gotten so good so quickly, because we all use them for very ridiculous things. And so it is really important just to make sure that, I'm very much of if you've got something proprietary, something that you want to lock down, one, pay for the platform, make sure that you use it, but make sure that it's got the right enterprise subscriptions around it. As I said, Copilot definitely does it if you're in the Microsoft ecosystem. We run it inside of ours, Google Gemini inside of Google Workspace. But as long as you've got those platforms set up with the right security details, that will help you with that. So as I said, love getting into those conversations. I see Anita's been nodding madly with that.
Yeah. It can be done, but it's a lot more in-depth than just everyday AI, for sure.
That's it. But it's important that we think about this because, again, we've got client data, we've got information. You don't want to be, as I said, you don't want to be dumping something into the website. You don't want to just basically print your client list and stick it out the front of your shop. It is really important that we consider how we do that well and use the tools to our advantage, but without basically being, basically giving away everything. Is there any other questions in the chat? I got carried away with that one?
Yeah, I don't think there was many specific questions.
Well, how about we wrap up the recording there, and then we might open up for any questions that people want to ask here. So from that, we'll thank you for everyone who has joined us on the recording tonight, and obviously, hopefully this has been a benefit for you. There's some great stuff, and I know the slides always come with it when it comes to Anita's presentation, so I know that'll be beneficial for you all too. So and we'll stay online for those who are on the live call, so we can open up to any of your questions.